And I'll Glacial Lance. Cover for like a Terra Grass. Nope, they just let me KO Kyogre. High horsepower would have been a little... That did so much damage anyway. Never mind. Not using high horsepower is fine. I do get Enamorus in on the dragon immunity. Perfect. For Shifu's back, I'm going to Terra Stellar. I don't think I need to bother with the Terra Blast here. I think I can just Dazzling Gleam. Alright, VGC Legends time once again. This is, as always, the series where I spin a wheel. I get a random, legendary, or mythical Pokemon that exists in Scarlet and Violet. I build a team on the spot around that Pokemon, and then I try the team out on the Regulation J ladder, as always for two reasons. One being that I just like legendary and mythical Pokemon a lot. I think that they add some great value to the lore of the Pokemon world, and I want to give each one its due. And second, that by trying out a bunch of different teams that I've built quickly, some good, some bad, some okay, but with some oversights, I get a fun little adventure here, fun little gameplay journey, and hopefully I learn some things along the way. Made it through that whole spiel without being distracted by the sight of several people going past my window on segways. Don't know what that's about, but what I do know is that it's time to spin this wheel right now. And we're going to the Hisui region this time, as the wheel has given us Enamorus. That is not the last Gen 8 Pokemon. There's still a couple others, so Gen 7 is still the only one fully eliminated, but we do finally finish off this quartet here of Enamorus and friends. Okay, this is a Pokemon that has two forms, so the first question is which one to use. My instinct is Therian Enamorus in Hard Trick Room. Fairy is, of course, a strong offensive type. It hits very hard, it's pretty good bulk as well. And this speed stat is even lower than the likes of Ice Rider Calyrex and Ursaluna, so that's pretty valuable. Springtide Storm, unlike the other three storms, is not guaranteed to hit in rain. It doesn't get any kind of any such boost whatsoever. But we can lock that in with Moonblast, maybe even Dazzling Gleam, maybe even run 3 Fairy attacks, maybe not, but Fairy is such a good type, there's not a ton of downside to that. And we can throw off the spread, Springtide Storm where it seems appropriate. I could even consider Gravity on this team, actually. Gravity... Darkrai stuff doesn't really fit on Hard Trick Room, but maybe there's something else I could do with Gravity. The alternative, of course, is the Incarnate form. And Contrary is a fun ability. I could just do Choice Scarf, Contrary, Superpower. Does it get anything else that makes use of Contrary? The other nice thing, of course, is it would get attack boosted by Intimidate, but I don't think it does get anything else. Like, it doesn't get... certainly doesn't get Fleur Cannon. That's Magearna's signature move. It doesn't get, like, an Overheat, or, Unless there's something down here and usually useless, but it doesn't look like it. Alright, I have a real dilemma here, then. I guess the problem with the Scarf idea is... you know what it gets. You know what it gets that works with Contrary. I'm just saying. I can figure out a team where I'm comfortable terrestrializing this like as often as possible. That could be pretty funny. In fact, I think that's more interesting than Therian Hard Trick Room. But honestly, I think this is the toughest form choice in a while. This is the safe and reasonable pick, but this is the zany content pick. And I think I've done safe and reasonable a lot of times in this series. I think I can let zany content win out. I think that means I've chosen the Incarnate form for every one of these four. Maybe I should do something with the Therian forms later. I don't know. But yeah, Choice Scarf, Contrary. We're going back to superior gameplay here. Except I never actually tried a Scarf on that, but I did think it would probably be good. What does it need? I think it needs Farigiraf, so it can't be faked out, because I can't run Terra Ghost. I think it needs Tailwind. So I can build it out as like a Miraidon offense team. Right, so Whimsicott. Special attack is higher than this. Yeah, we can run as a special attacker. We can do Miraidon. Probably like Ice Rider Calyrex. Just pretty stock Miraidon team apart from the Enamorus here. And I guess the goal is just get Enamorus onto the field and try to sweep with Terra Blast. Not the most serious gameplay idea, but should be fun. How do I beat, like... Alright, let's as always think about how to deal with mythical Pokemon. Because my reg eye brain is not fully calibrated to them, right? So, like, how do I beat Darkrai? I have Tailwind, I have Scarf Fairy type, I have Electric Terrain. How do I beat Magearna? Magearna is actually pretty dangerous. I might want to consider something like Incineroar or Volcarona in this last slot. I think Volcarona could be good. Yeah. How do I beat Arceus? I have Farigiraf for the extreme speed sets. I have a lot of damage to try to just power through the Perish Song sets, along with Encore, Whimsicott. Is there any other mythical Pokemon that's especially relevant right now? There's Psy-Spam stuff with Deoxys or Hoopa. I have a Terrain here, I have a Psychic type. I think Volcarona is fine for the last slot. That can also help me deal with Psy-Spam to an extent. As well as Magearna. If there's another relevant mythical, it's slipping my mind right now. Alright, so I want probably a special attacker to take advantage of that higher special attack stat. I don't think I need superpower. Maybe the defense boost could be useful situationally. I can run superpower anyway. I mean, I have to fit 4 moves on this thing. I don't have to, but it's optimal. Let's do Moonblast. I mean, I could probably just do like Terra Blast, Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, superpower. Maybe I want Mystical Fire. Or does it get Earth Power? It does get Earth Power. Okay, it's Terra Blast, Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, Earth Power, Superpower. 4 of those 5. Terra Blast is mandatory, it's the whole premise here. I think Moonblast and Dazzling Gleam are both worth it. I think I'm going to drop Superpower. But it could be situationally kind of fun. Farigiraf, probably just do like basic Electric Seed stuff. I do need answers to Calyrex forms, so yeah. Like your basic Terra Water, Foul Play, Farigiraf is probably about right. Whimsicott can be your stock Covert, Cloak, Prankster, Tailwind, Encore thing. Tailwind, Encore. Do I need Light Screen? Doesn't hurt, I guess. I could always run Fake Tears. Make Enamorus snowball that much more easily. This team is all special offense except Calyrex, so, well, and Foul Play. So Fake Tears is honestly maybe worth considering. I think Light Screen's fine for now, though. Specs Miraidon, you know, the moves. I don't know what Terra type I want on this Calyrex. Probably just Dragon. And Volcarona, maybe like a Rocky Helmet. Safety Goggles might be better on this team. No, I have Electric Terrain. Goggles might still be situationally useful. It's a Rage Powder immunity, and Electric Terrain won't always be up, but it doesn't feel necessary. Terra Grass. Use it to deal with some weirder Shifu positions and stuff. Get Flame Body as well. And then, yeah, I probably want like Rage Powder. Probably want Fire Move, maybe Fiery Dance. Struggle Bug. And Protect, something like that. And I'll fill in the rest of the sets with stuff that you've seen a million times before, and we're just going to try to sweep some teams with Choice Scarf and Enamorus. That's the game plan here. Let's see how it goes. So one thing that occurred to me while I was filling in the rest of the details is that if I want to terrestrialize Enamorus pretty much whenever I get the chance, it's probably best that I do more to select for Pokemon that I will not want to terrestrialize very often for the other slots. I didn't really think about that as much as perhaps I should have, but I think we can still make do with what we have here, and I think a lot of wins or losses will come down to just what Enamorus can do with that Stellar Terra Blast all the same. Hopefully I'll love this team, but we'll see if I end up hating it instead. Let's go. Alright, Chimpao, Iron Bundle, Koraidon, Gengar. Whoa, my favorite Pokemon spotted. Good thing I can't Mega Evolve against me here. Amoonguss, and what Arceus is this? Fire, okay. Fire Arceus would pretty nicely resist Landorus. video is this. Pretty nicely resist Enamorus' Fairy Stab, but I do have the Stellar Terra Blast, which again I do want to use pretty much as often as possible in this video. Usually I don't force the issue with the featured Pokemon, but I just want to see what Scarf Stellar Terra Blast can do. If I were being deadly serious about this one, I would have picked the other Enamorus form and built a very different team. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm gonna go Whimsicott, Miraidon. Yeah, Enamorus. I don't want to go for Farigiraf to protect against. Although Enamorus nicely resists the Chien-Pao Sucker Punch anyway. Could have Ice Shard, but most don't. Should probably just bring my restricted Pokemon. I don't think I need Farigiraf for this one, but we'll see. All right, they lead Koraidon and Gengar. I can pretty safely Tailwind and Volt Switch. Oh, and Enamorus can come in on close combat too, so that's convenient. A nice little bit of synergy that I absolutely did not think of in the builder, although they don't go for close combat anyway, they just protect their Koraidon. I don't know what Gengar was trying to do. I guess I'll still find out because there's a Focus Sash. Please don't click Sludge Bomb into my Miraidon slot. Nope, they Sludge Bomb the Whimsicott. That's okay, I have the Tailwind already. I can bring Miraidon right back here. Oh, you know what I can do? I can pin them with Dazzling Gleam and Terra Blast, because if they Terrastallize Koraidon to resist, then it becomes weak to Stellar Terra Blast, and Gengar will get knocked out anyway because it's at 1 HP. Yeah, there's a Terrafire Koraidon. Just gets wiped out by that Terra Blast, and Enamorus gets boosted. Gengar is gone. What are their other two Pokemon? Chien-Pao and Arceus. Alright. Miraidon is locked into Dazzling Gleam. I think I'm okay with that. We'll do a lot to Chien-Pao at least. Let's try to finish that off actually with it. Oh wait, no, it doesn't have this. It doesn't have the Sash. Gengar had the Sash, so Dazzling Gleam probably KOs anyway. Let's Terra Blast into Arceus. I could target Chien-Pao anyway. Oh, but Enamorus is faster than Miraidon with the Scarf, so my opponent doesn't understand what just happened. Hang on. And also Chien-Pao could protect. So yeah, better to target Arceus with this Terra Blast, I think. But let's see what happens. They do protect Chien-Pao. That Arceus takes the Terra Blast pretty well. We get to +2 now. What does Arceus go for? Recover. That's probably too slow, but we'll see. They are almost out of my Tailwind. They can protect Arceus here. I'll just make the same play again, because again, we know it's not Sash Chien-Pao. I'm not sure my opponent knows how Stellar Terra Blast works. Normally lowers those stats. Yeah, that takes out Chien-Pao. We crit the Arceus with the, what's it called? Dazzling Gleam. But it doesn't matter. It's trying to set up with Calm Mind, and that is just too slow here. And I just taught my opponent how Stellar Terra Blast works, so that's cool. It's not something you run into super often. But look at that Enamorus go. Alright, on to the next game. I think these are going to be quick ones, this video, for better or for worse. Which, hey, might keep the video length down. Here's another Miraidon team, though. This one doesn't have much of a Trick Room mode, though. They do have a Farigiraf, but their other restricted is the fast Calyrex instead of the slow one. So, Scarf and Enamorus might kind of just cook here. I think I'm going to do Whimsicott, Miraidon lead. I think I'm going to do the same for Pokemon. Maybe Farigiraf is good. But for what? They don't really have... They have fast stuff, but they don't really have priority. I guess it's good for their Calyrex. But I think I'm better off bringing my Calyrex once again. Okay, Miraidon Iron Bundle against Miraidon Whimsicott. Once again, an opponent just lets me have Tailwind uncontested turn 1. They can set theirs up later, offset from mine, so... No. There's still play for them here, but I'm gonna make a slightly risky move, I think. Am I? I could Dazzling Gleam and try to catch their Miraidon, but what I was thinking of doing was just Volt Switch into Iron Bundle. Hope it doesn't protect. I actually think I prefer Dazzling Gleam. It could chip, you know, both of their Pokemon. They don't do anything to preserve their Miraidon. You can chip both their Pokemon for Enamorus in the back. Okay, they take out my Whimsicott. Miraidon is now functionally at +1 speed, so it'll be slower than Iron Bundle, but still faster than their Miraidon, but not once they land another Icy Wind into it. But I can take out the Iron Bundle with this. Alright. Let's get that Terror Blast going again, and then we can outspeed and KO their Miraidon. Or Whimsicott can switch in, which is pretty brave of it. Because they're definitely going to want their Tailwind here. Okay, Whimsicott takes the Dazzling Gleam. Enamorus is 1 boost. With the choice Scarf, Enamorus should still outspeed their Miraidon once they get Tailwind up, unless it's Scarf Miraidon. Let's just go for it, I say. Tailwind. Yeah, my Terror Blast comes out next. Miraidon's gone, and Enamorus is at +2. This KO's Whimsicott. We'll see what their last Pokemon is. Shadow Rider Calyrex. But I think Scarf and Enamorus should outspeed that too, yeah? Oh, not anymore. Because they get their Tailwind. Alright, well... Or they have their Tailwind and I don't anymore. Well, here's looking for small damage into me and big damage back the other way. Ooh. Enamorus barely survives. Miraidon does not survive. Ooh, but their Calyrex survives a Terror Blast, and I think I actually lose to that now because they'll KO Enamorus. I don't have Protect on it, obviously. And I can't protect my Calyrex, but for what? It still just gets KO'd the next turn. Yeah, close game, but Enamorus couldn't quite sweep that one. But of course, we'll try at least a couple more times. I am finding that Enamorus... This is max special attack Enamorus, by the way. And I am finding that it's not quite getting enough damage sometimes. But Miraidon puts out so much pressure that we can win some of these games anyway. This is a pretty similar team. They have the same restricted duo. They have Tornadus as the Tailwind setter. They don't have... I mean, they have Iron Hands, so they have a little bit more of a Trick Room mode than the last one, but still not a lot. I can bring Volcarona to this. But I don't think I will. Not sure I'm sold on the Ice Rider Calyrex in this mode. Maybe a better restricted, maybe a different restricted would have been better, is what I mean. Tailwind will once again be uncontested. We did see the downside of that last game where if they set Tailwind later, then mine runs out first and I could get into some pretty serious danger. Once again, they don't have Wide Guard on the board. I think I like that spread damage with Dazzling Gleam once I get the Tailwind up. So, we've seen how this can turn out well. We've seen how it can turn out badly. Let's see what happens this game. I switched their Shifu at Farigiraf, makes sense. Their Ghost, their Calyrex, that's going to do a lot of damage. Okay, it was Whimsicott, but not Miraidon, and that means I can get Enamorus in here. And let's just go for the thing. They could set Trick Room, actually. Well, okay. If they protect Calyrex and Trick Room, then I'm kind of just cooked. Probably. But I'm not going to read that when they seem to just be going for all the damage they can. You know, if I read that and I target Farigiraf instead, then I'm still in trouble because they can attack with Calyrex. And if I don't KO it, then I lose to it. Actually, the winning play here is probably to Terra Fairy Miraidon and not Terra the Enamorus this time. I'm going to Dazzling Gleam, Terra Fairy, Dazzling Gleam. That gets both KOs here, and then I know they have Single Striker Shifu in the back, and they can't Terrastallize it because they already Terrastallized Calyrex. So unfortunately, I think the actual smart play here is to give up on the Stellar Terra Blast Dream for this game specifically. Oh, but they can still have Tornadus. They probably don't have Tornadus, right? They probably have Miraidon, and that's why they're being so scared of my Fairy coverage. I didn't bring Farigiraf to this game, so I can't stop a Sucker Punch into my Miraidon. But let's see what happens. No Sucker Punch. And I think my Tailwind will last just long enough, because most Miraidon don't run Protect. I think it'll last just long enough for my double Fairy attackers to close this one out. So not quite the same game plan as the last couple games, but this was just a smoother way to play this one. Enamorus doesn't quite get the last KO, but Miraidon is here to finish the job. Enamorus, like I said, I'm running max special attack. What is the base stat? 135. That's pretty good. But in a crazy high power format like this, it is not always keeping up. This is a cool team. Zamazenta, Miraidon, Volbeat, Sceptile, Chiyu, Fluttermane. Probably Unburden, Electric Seed, Sceptile, but I don't know what it does then. It goes turbo fast, yeah. Probably faster than Enamorus. Yeah, probably. I just don't know what it does. There's no Pledge combo. They don't have another starter. And then Volbeat is a priority Tailwind setter. It gets Prankster, Tailwind. It also gets... What does it get? Like Encore? For sure. I'm blanking on what it gets that's specifically useful to this team. Sunny Day, I guess. For these two. But I think we'll just have to play this out and see. Let's do our tried and true Whimsicott Miraidon lead with Enamorus in the back. I don't know if I want Calyrex in this one. But honestly, nobody else is really better. So let's do that. Maybe Ice Rider Calyrex is not the correct second restricted for this team. At least the way I'm playing it. So we both have Chiyu. We both have Tailwind on the board here. I'm certainly going to go for it. And I think I'll just Volt Switch into Chiyu. They switch out to their Miraidon. Okay, smart. But if I go Enamorus here, I'm faster with the Scarf, and because I'm threatening Fairy-type damage, maybe I bait out their Terra, and I can... I'll Light Screen here too, because why not? And I can get them with the super effective Terra Blast. No, they don't Terra. They Encore Whimsicott into Tailwind. Didn't cover for that, my bad. Are they just going to wipe out Enamorus here? No, they Volt Switch into Whimsicott. Okay. They get Zamazenta. Excuse me, they get Zamazenta in. I guess I'll switch Whimsicott out to... honestly, Miraidon here. It gives him a chance to get some good damage into it, but I can live with that, I think. And Calyrex just doesn't accomplish enough. They Encore me, not knowing that I'm choice locked anyway. Get another boost into Zamazenta. And they wipe out Enamorus with Behemoth Bash. I guess this gives me my restricted duo on the field, but unfortunately no Enamorus sweep this time. And let's just... don't want a Dazzling Gleam when I can't Terrasilize to get stab on it, and also they have Wide Guard on the board, so let's Electro Drift into Zamazenta, and also High Horsepower into Zamazenta, covering for some Terra type or something. They didn't Wide Guard, so it actually would have been better to smack the Volbeat with Glacial Lance, but I've probably broken a Focus Sash on it now anyway. I don't think I have enough firepower to win this, though. But let's see. Oh, that Volt Switch doesn't do too much to Calyrex. They have Tailwind now and I don't. Might have been worth it to click Trick Room there. But at least I'll get a single target Glacial Lance into this Chiyu. That does some damage. I probably lose to their Miraidon still, but let's see. I'm gonna protect Calyrex because they seem to want to target it. So I might as well at least slow that down. Chiyu gets a crit with Snarl. What does Miraidon go for? Electro Drift into Calyrex. I'm gonna switch my Miraidon out here. If Whimsicott survives this turn because they really seem to want to get rid of Calyrex, then I can set my Tailwind back up and I can win with like Dazzling Gleam. And my opponent, seeing seeing how that goes, they end up forfeiting. They were pretty high rated for using Sceptile. Some of the way they played that was a little bit odd to me, but maybe they were certainly higher rated than I am, so maybe I'm the one who doesn't know what they're doing there. Or maybe we just have different playstyles, or maybe they're experimenting with something silly, not unlike me. Shadow Rider Calyrex, Zamazenta, Incineroar, Rillaboom, Amoonguss, or Shifu. This is where I might want to bring Farigiraf to a game finally, right? Because Fake Out Spam into Enamorus is a problem. We've also established that Zamazenta is a problem for Enamorus, but what are you going to do? I mean, I could bring Volcarona, but then already that leaves only room for one restricted Pokemon, and it means no Tailwind. I don't know if that really works. Probably I'm better off just threatening the Zamazenta with Miraidon. So let's do... yeah, I'll just bring the Farigiraf instead of the Calyrex this time. Let's just make that one adjustment. They lead Rillaboom and their Calyrex. So they'll get Terrain Control here. And they'll be able to Fake Out Miraidon. I want Tailwind, so... it's pretty passive, but I'll set that and pivot to Farigiraf, I guess. Maybe leading Whimsicott Farigiraf here would have been a bit smarter. Oh. Terra Ghost immediately again. Got the fake out, get the Tailwind. Does this wipe out Whimsicott? It does. I can go Miraidon here, and I can Volt Switch the Calyrex. Because Enamorus, we know, just doesn't do enough damage at this point. I'll put a Helping Hand on that too, I think. Just get even if somebody else switches in, like a Moongus, just get the most damage I can. It's probably Sash Calyrex, yeah. I didn't see a Life Orb. I mean, it could have been Choiced. Actually, I was entertaining the idea it might be Choiced. That's why I didn't think about the Sash. So I see Terra Ghost Calyrex just go for it like that. My first thought is probably Specs. But I did just throw Enamorus away to the Sash Calyrex. Realized too late, committed the move, and then thought, oh, what if it's this? Which is, you know, something you do sometimes at VGC. Anyway, got a Dazzling Gleam. Gonna need the spread damage from Dazzling Gleam if ever I'm getting through this, I think. And I'll Foul Play the Urshifu in case it has a Scarf. Or, wait, no, I know where the Sash... I meant Sash, but also I know where the Sash is. What do I do with... I'll just Helping Hand again. I do still have 2 turns of Tailwind. I can probably either beat this Calyrex or force it out, force it to give up its boosts. Preferably the former. Preferably I get a KO, because that makes me ride on the fastest Pokemon left, even when the Tailwind is over. Okay, Calyrex protects. I can get Rillaboom back in and turn off my Hadron engine, but thanks to Farigiraf, or they can just do that and win with Wide Guard. Yeah, that works too. I'm gonna say thanks to Farigiraf, they still can't. Fake out. Got big Astral Barrage here into Miraidon. It KOs at +2, not really surprising. I'll knock out the Calyrex back, but Farigiraf is not pulling this game back by itself. Which is okay. I didn't cover for the most obvious Shadow Rider Calyrex item. The way they played it with the immediate Terra Ghost Astral Barrage successfully baited me into thinking that they were running a choice item. And so I threw away Enamorus and didn't get to go for the sweep with that. It happens. On to the next one. Archaludon, Kyogre, Tornadus, Urshifu, presumably Rapid Strike form, I would think. Rillaboom and Zacian. Good old Kyogre, Zacian, Swordfish. With Archaludon in Reg J. That's a little bit unusual. It's more of a Reg H Pokemon, but it can still be strong. I'm gonna go back to bringing both of my restricteds, even though they do a fake out here. Let's see what happens. Maybe there's a fast physical restricted that I could have paired with Miraidon. Honestly, like, maybe my own Zacian would have been better on this team. I don't know. Right, keep the momentum going in Tailwind, because that's the mode I've been bringing to pretty much every game. Something to be said for that. I would like to remove Zacian because it's a massive threat to my Enamorus, but some of them are on Terra Ground. So I might be better off clicking Volt Switch into the Urshifu. But it is such a giant threat that I'll gamble on this anyway. Obviously, if it were open team sheets, I would know. Okay, they let me have massive damage into Zacian. I'll go Calyrex here because I don't want to throw Enamorus away again. Play rough into Calyrex. Okay, I'll light screen here. It's not helpful into Zacian, but it's helpful into the rest of their stuff. And let's just high horsepower the Zacian. I still want to get the KO on that if I can. They'll knock out Whimsicott here. But I get Zacian in return, which I think is a good trade for me. Archaludon is, especially with that Flash Cannon, also a big threat to Enamorus. So I'll go Miraidon first. I go Kyogre. Still haven't seen their Terra for this game. I don't want to just Draco Meteor the Archaludon. But I need damage into Kyogre as well. Calyrex is faster than their Archaladon as long as my Tailwind is still up, which is not much longer. I think I'm down to Volt Switch Kyogre. If they click a Dragon Attack into an Enamorus, then it gets in for free. And, well, other than Kyogre's attack, I guess. And I'll Glacial Lance. Cover for like a Terra Grass. Nope, they just let me KO Kyogre. High horsepower would have been a little... That did so much damage anyway. Never mind. Not using high horsepower is fine. I do get Enamorus in on the Dragon immunity. Perfect. For Shifu's back, I'm going to Terra Stellar. I don't think I need to bother with the Terra Blast here. I think I can just Dazzling Gleam. And Glacial Lance follow up. But yeah, Enamorus picks up the KOs. No Terra Blast needed. Nice. This Enamorus is a lot of fun when it works, but obviously it's a little bit gimmicky. Not super consistent. I think there was a better team I could have built around it, but I didn't find that in like 7 minutes. Arceus, Incineroar, Chien-Pao, Amoonguss, Miraidon, and Urshifu. So I think I want Farigiraf for this one. Or maybe Volcarona. Volcarona is good here with the helmet and the flame body. But they do have Incineroar Fake Out as well. This is basically all I'm hesitating on right now, Farigiraf or Volcarona. I think I'll go Farigiraf. Okay, Incineroar and Urshifu. Can fake out Miraidon here, but they're not threatening a ton of damage into it after that. I mean, I guess close combat would hurt, but I'm just going to go for a Volt Switch. See what happens. Okay, they detect the Urshifu, so they're not threatening much damage at all into Miraidon this turn. They knock off, get rid of the Specs. Not amazing, not terrible. I can Encore Urshifu into Detect here and Volt Switch Incineroar. Okay, they bring their Miraidon in, fair enough. I guess that'll give me an Enamorus. Okay, a Whimsicott, so I'm not... Once again, I'm only getting one Tailwind this game. We're pretty used to that now, right? I can go Farigiraf here. I might Beta Terra on Miraidon, and if so, Helping Hand Stellar Terra Blast is going to hurt. They're electric. KO'd. What does Incineroar do? Flare Blitz into Enamorus. That does a lot of damage back, actually. Probably only getting one more Terra Blast. Ooh, does Chien-Pao have the Focus Sash? It probably does. Incineroar is still not much of an offensive threat into Miraidon, so I think I'm okay with Terra Blast and double up with Foul Play into Chien-Pao. I really was thinking that Terra Blast would just knock Chien-Pao down to its Sash, but good thing I covered for the Sash with the Foul Play. They actually are going to get Enamorus. They are going to let Enamorus potentially attack again, but it is only potentially because this can Aqua Jet now that the Farigiraf is gone. But I'll go Dazzling Gleam with Miraidon. I think that just wins. They do Aqua Jet, they do KO Enamorus. It doesn't get to close out the sweep, but Miraidon. Not quite KOing the Urshifu because it lost its Specs, but obviously we'll get to do that next turn. Can't say Enamorus didn't put in work in that one, even though it wasn't there quite at the end. This is definitely a fun set, this Scarf Terra Stellar thing. I don't quite know that it's tournament viable, but it's an enjoyable enough ladder tech. Lunala, I'm starting to zone out. Lunala, Koraidon, Chiyu, Fluttermane, Amoonguss, Ursaluna. Super scary Sunroom. If they do the room part, I'd probably just lose, but hopefully they'll focus in on the sun part instead. Do I bring Verograph to this? Foul play, psychic, foul play. I'm not quite sold. Because Ursaluna will underspeed. I think if they get Ursaluna going in Trick Room, I probably just lose. Hopefully they won't do that, but probably they will, judging by this Lunala lead. Oh, Light Screen first. They're only threatening special damage, and I think Tailwind might actually not be beneficial here. Although Miraidon and Enamorus are going to outspeed their team anyway. Icy Wind. Okay. I guess they are going for speed then. Break Shadow Shield with a crit, no less. I'll throw my Calyrex at this so I don't let them KO Enamorus yet. Meteor Beam Lunala. I can Encore Lock that if I think it's worth it. You know what's really funny? Contrary Enamorus, this Pokemon's name is not going to be real to me for much longer. We'll actually get a speed boost from Icy Wind. So it might actually be worthwhile for me to Encore the Flutter Mane here. I think I'm down to do that. And hope this Terra Blast takes care of the Lunala. Oh, not quite. No. Okay, boost my speed. No, dodge it. No. Well, that was almost a cool play. All right. Well. I can't lock into Electro Drift, right? Because they probably have Ursaluna in the back. Let's just hope they don't click Wide Guard here. They probably don't have it. Okay, we take 1 speed drop, but we're net plus 1 speed because of the Tailwind. Locking that Flutter Mane into Icy Wind was almost a cool play, but it's not quite. This will Terrastallize and survive the Dazzling Gleam and win, right? Also, this probably outspeeds Miraidon now. Wow. They actually just let me KO their Koraidon with a Moonblast there. Maybe they forgot to click the Terra, I don't know. So it's actually going to be a 1v1 here at the end. With the Ursaluna. Single target Dazzling Gleam. No stab, unfortunately. I do have Specs, I do have Hadron Engine, I could always crit. That did not do very much. Even a crit would not have won that. Worth a shot. Weighing whether to get one more, but honestly, I think I've done what I wanted to do with Enamorus here. We could keep this one a little bit quick. I think that was a super fun set. I really enjoyed trying it out on the ladder here. Once you've liked and subscribed and everything, let me know in the comments whether you loved that set or you hated it. Either way, interested to hear your opinion, and of course back to the wheel next time for it to give us whatever it will give us next.